Um, Greetings, everyone. I am Jahnavi Vellanki. I am currently in USA, working as a lab validation specialist based in Indiana. I would like to first thank for the opportunity to present at the 6th International Conference on Soft Computing, Artificial Intelligence, and Machine Learning 2025. I would be talking about the future with digital infrastructure, how AI is transforming middleware validation in life sciences. So the topic that I chose is analyze the challenges and solutions associated with middleware validation using AI technologies in life sciences. So let's get started. So we will start with a few of the agenda items for today's presentation. We'll start with an overview. We'll talk about some definitions, introduce you about what middleware is. We'll go into core challenges in middleware. We'll talk about some of the limitations with traditional validation we have today. We'll talk how AI can be game-changing and revolutionary in today's world. We'll talk few key benefits of AI integration with middleware. Then I have two case studies that I would like to use as an example to present my case with AI and middleware validation. Then we'll talk some gaps between traditional and AI-driven validation process. We'll look at some future prospects for AI validation within the middleware life sciences. And then we'll summarize and have some key takeaways from the presentation. Starting with the overview. So I would like to first start with what middleware is. So in life sciences, middleware is a software layer that allows an effortless communication, data federation, and interoperability among the applications and databases with the instruments. What that means is it's basically a hidden layer that allows the systems, the instruments, and applications to communicate with each other. It is very important in data transfer from lab instruments or platforms, whichever we call them as, to a user-friendly interface for clinical trial studies, for real-time patient monitoring, or any kind of data transfer from the instrument to a human-readable format. Common kinds of data sources that are integrated via middleware are, you can say, electronic health records, EHRs, a commonly used terminology, LIMS, a laboratory information management system. Um, sorry. And then we can also talk when we go into deep core lab, we can also talk about genomic sequencing outputs, clinical trial management systems. There are like imaging data. There are like regulatory databases that use these middleware platforms. Basically, middleware helps in creating the interoperability among all these different applications we have. And middleware basically ensures that the data is transferred from the instrument or platform to the user interface that is much more convenient for one to use and read the data and interpret the data. Now, validation is the cornerstone for making sure that the data is accurate, secure, and compliant with these middlewares. So as I've explained a little bit about the core role or the critical role of middleware within this industry with with lab and IT. As I've said, like middleware enables a seamless data integration, and it's essential for managing complex workflows within life sciences. Validation across is one of the major challenges that we would see, and it is very important to make sure that, as I said, to have the accuracy, the reliability, the secure and compliance with the regulatory authorities. And then the other thing, as I mentioned, adding into it, regulatory compliance for assurance. We have to ensure that there are stringent regulations involved when we are talking about patient data, data integrity, and patient safety involved. So we have to make sure that these middleware entities that are used are in compliant with these regulatory bodies, guidelines, and regulations we have. Some of the core challenges that we have in middleware. So if we talk about the data security challenge, in life sciences, data integrity and security in general in life sciences and in middleware validation are of great importance because the data involved are highly sensitive and biological and clinical data in nature. The middleware often deals with these sensitive medical information and it is subjective to stringent regulations such as HIPAA or GDPR or FDA, etc., which leads to the great data security concerns because any unauthorized access, a data breach, and loss of data integrity may result in like severe legal or ethical consequences. Or for a matter of fact, if there is an inconsistent data, it can lead to conclusions which are inconsistent and can affect the research outcomes or patient care. If you think about the scalability concerns with the middleware in traditional ways, this is one of the major challenge we would see because the middleware system will need to keep up with large volumes and complex data sets which are received from the instruments or platforms, such as if you take a genomics instrument, it'll have a lot of that data that comes in with imaging and a lot of gene sequencing information. And like if you take the personalized medicine or real-time data, even without um, patient information, we have to maintain all that data without reducing the performance. Now, classic middleware systems, there it is very hard to uh, maintain large volume sets. They can hardly scale up due to the constraints on processing or storage or integration capabilities. So that scalability is a very big concern with the traditional middleware that we have. The next one is regulatory compliance. Since the data is so complex and is so um, has to be in compliance with regulatory standards, it is very significant challenge for the middleware validation to make sure that the systems have strict validation and testing performed to adhere to to the FDA guidelines or HIPAA regulations or the GDPR to ensure that the data is handled right, that storage or transmission process are secure and also transparent. The validation process itself has to be documented in detail to provide the audit trails when asked by a regulatory body or sponsors or clients, which is time consuming and requires high level of accuracy. So the middleware systems, they also have to ensure that the AI technologies that are integrated into validation process, they don't violate the compliance standards because non-compliance with regulatory standards in this industry can lead into a legal consequence issues with privacy issues, data laws, data integrity concerns, and it could also lead into delays with the research for a clinical trial. So these are some of the core challenges that we have with middleware. Now, we can talk about the traditional way of middleware validation that we have currently. So traditionally or historically, we have used manual or rule-based validation methods, and these are slow, they are error prone, they are like a lot of human involved, there's a lot of resourcing involved, they don't scale up as we need when there is a large volume data set involved. They struggle to handle the data velocity and complexity of modern life and sciences as they demand. There are high error rates. As I said, like there with the manual validation, it leads to significant errors and inconsistencies when there are large volume sets. Inefficiency in processes, because this is a rule-based validation. Um, when it comes to a complex system, this can fail. And since it's a rule-based validation system, you would have a labor-intensive approach that needs to considered in there. Inability to scale, as mentioned, when there comes a larger volume of data sets that involves in about enhancing the roles, adding more resourcing, more time, and it adds up to the project scale on a large bit. So how can AI be game changing for us? The complexity and the volume of the new data generation can make it challenging to achieve with the traditional validation methods. So, the current research has highlighted the extensive role played by artificial intelligence in addressing these problems. Validation process are improved with AI techniques that include machine learning or natural language processing role or predictive analysis or explainable AI. These processes basically they approach by automating error detection, ensuring data is correct and compliance, and process is stringent and straightforward. And if we take about some of these process that we have here, machine learning, it basically automates the anomaly detection, enhancing the accuracy by identifying the inconsistencies in high thorough output data integration. The natural language processing role, the NPL techniques, likely named as named entity recognition. So it takes the text classification and schematic analysis and can extract the structured meaning from clinical notes, protocols, or trial reports. This ensures that unstructured inputs are contextually accurate and aligned with the system out workflow, which is a key to validation. Now, when we take about the predictive analytics benefits, predictive AI models can forecast potential errors, enabling proactive adjustments and enhancing validation integrity. So you would know a particular instrument requires a maintenance that's upcoming even before it goes into an error mode. So the predictive analysis can help you prepare and proactively make the adjustments as needed. Explainable AI is basically it provides transparent and interpretable AI-driven solution. This model is auditable, which is crucial for regulatory compliance. It ensures that the stakeholders can understand why a model flagged a certain data or predicted an error. So the explainable models are much more user-friendly. They can help you predict if they predict an error, if there is an error that the model is tagging, it gives you an explanation of why and how it has come to that conclusion, making it easier to trust and approve in AI-driven validation in sensitive contexts. AI brings new power to this validation problem with middleware. Machine learning, the NLPs, the predictive analysis, all of these, they foresee failures even before they happen. So this is transforming validation into a more smarter and proactive process. As I've praised the AI in middleware, there are some of the key benefits that I can talk about with integration of AI. Real-time error detection, as we said, AI technologies provide immediate identification and correction of errors, ensuring the data flow integrity. Improved accuracy rates. The advanced algorithms enhance data accuracy through automated validation and reduce human-induced errors significantly. Enhance scalability. So the deep learning AI models handle large, complex data sets with improved scalability. The benefits are tangible: real-time error detection, improved data accuracy, automated compliance workflows. AI doesn't just help, it becomes it's becoming essentially for keeping up the data demands that we have in today's world, with along with the regulatory scrutiny we see. Um, the benefits go on. Predictive maintenance, as we talked, the predictive maintenance is basically the models, they predictive analytics forewarn the system failures, enabling proactive intervention. So this is much more when you have a large lab and you have these predictive models in place, you don't have to worry about a system failure and potential delay with the clinical trial or research that you are in the middle of. Dynamic optimization. So advanced algorithms enhance data accuracy through automated validation, reducing human-induced errors significantly when you have this. Going down to some of to case study one, this is about a machine learning for an image study performed in 2014. It's a real-world example. A company used a deep learning model in its middleware system, and the result of it is they've seen 76 to 83, 76.67 to be precise, to 83.34 percentage of accuracy, improved detection of data anomalies, saving time and boosting reliability. So the study is about a computer-aided diagnostic tool for automatic BI-RADS categorization for breast lesions. The user provided the parameters such as contour, shape, density, and the system suggested the BI-RADS classification. The way they built the model was they trained the model with the BI-RAD standards, with the classification and data points. And when the images were, uh, after they were defined, when the images were ran and analyzed using the model, they saw that the the accuracy of image reading between the physicians and the model was very high, a significant volume, 76.67 to 83.34. It is all based on the data that was fed into the model on statistical analysis with the data sets they have provided. The algorithm basically maps the distribution of different classes into a set, and when the images were read, it would cross-reference them and it would suggest the BI-RADS classification based on it. In return, what this does is the machine learning, the algorithms have helped with diagnosing, recommending treatments, and also predicting the images way better than a human intervention in between. The second case study is about a natural language processing model in 2016, where this was conducted with a university with a radiology lab in it. They receive large volumes of radiology, the images, and as we have talked earlier, the images from radiology are they don't have defined data sets that they could categorize them. Agreed, they are trying to get them structured by hierarchical itemization or some kind of standard terminology. It is very hard to group them when they are so unstructured. Um, the 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 group or the team had used the intelligent search engines, the NLP model, to use a computer-based approach to analyze the free-form text-to-speech structure, which was basically used to data mine all these images. And the result of study is that they could see for a simple pattern, they saw that there was an accuracy for about 97% in detecting and recommending for additional imaging for um, incidental finding with emergency cases. And for a complex system, they saw accuracy up unto 99.6% in detecting the recommendations for subsequent actions. So in both the case studies, we have seen that the automation models, the AI models that are picked, are trained as per the need of the user. And we have seen a significant volume or significant number of accuracy towards the end of the studies. Despite the progress, there still remain gaps with both the methods, the traditional methods and AI. Some of the gaps with the AI driven methods is that real-time integration is still hard at scale. Regulations evolve faster than the models. We recently had EU have a regulation put up around AI, and in US is not far behind. So there are a lot of things that evolve, and we need to train our models based on the guidelines and regulations that are being set up. Cross-system compatibility is one of the biggest challenge that we would see as we go through this, because not all the systems that we have currently in the market are compatible with any of these AI solutions. And when we compare these challenges with the traditional methods, we would see that with the traditional method, it's a lot of human or manual testing that's involved, which AI could reduce the human errors and improve the efficiency in there. The traditional method is a lot of rule-based systems. They are the middleware systems are a lot of rule-based. So they used predefined rules. So when comes a dynamic middleware behavior, these systems struggle. When you look at the AI side, machine learning detects anomalies dynamically and it improves adaptability. So that's much more efficient. When we think about simulation testing, the traditional method fails because there are only so many uh, scenarios that you can test in real world conditions. However, when you look at the AI side, AI can simulate real world conditions in any particular scenario that you want to test your system in. So that is more efficient. Anomaly detection. So in traditional way, we are fixed with thresholds leading to missed or false positives a lot. However, in the AI-driven methods, AI can analyze large data sets to even identify subtle irregularities. When you think about testing, the test case generation and testing is a very much manual process. And as we talked a little bit above there with simulated testing too, there are a lot of limitations that you can do with manual testing. When you think about the AI-driven methods, you will have AI dynamically generate its test cases based on the real-time interactions and the data set that you're feeding it. Predictive maintenance and self-healing, it requires traditional methods, they require periodic and manual inspections. Well, AI also requires periodic intervention and periodic inspections, but it predicts the failures and enables proactive corrections, thus reducing the downtime. So, though we see the limitations on both the traditional methods and AI still has a lot of points or qualities that can prove that it could be more efficient compared to the traditional method we have today. Future outlook. Looking ahead with emerging technologies as deep learning techniques, explainable AI, natural language processing, the AI is holding a very promising future. The goal is not just for faster validation, but actually more transparent, trustworthy systems that can scale and adapt. Few takeaway points to wrap up. I would say middleware is definitely foundational in life sciences, and AI can elevate its validation by bringing speed, accuracy, compliance. But to fully realize the potential, we would need to collaborate across tech, healthcare, and regulatory teams and be cautious when we are implementing some of these models. The AI can be transformative with showing the enhanced accuracy, efficiency, and regulatory compliance. However, there can be a severe challenge when we are talking about compatibility with the current um, industry applications we have. So, future looks bright ahead, but we need to make sure that we understand the regulations that are going to bind us down to and make sure that we have the data privacy, data integrity, and patient safety covered when we think about these AI models. That comes to the end of my presentation.